Welcome to the Plant-Centered and Thriving Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Kitchens. Welcome to the show, Plant-Centered listener. My name is Ashley and I am your host today. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. If this is your first time here, a very special welcome to you, and thank you to you if you are returning. Our guests today are sisters Loretta and Sharon, and they both have an in-depth understanding of the healing benefits that plants can bring us. Sharon was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease, and as she was going through that journey, Loretta retrained as a vegan chef. And so their two stories combined were so incredible, and I cannot wait for you to listen to them today. They both feel better than ever and are passionate about helping others find their mojo too. In fact, they now host retreats at what is called the Detox Barn, which has been named one of the best UK wellness retreats. So if you're listening from the UK, yes, these two may be living in your area. And through their fun and down-to-earth approach, which was so evident in our conversation today, they help empower people to make healthy changes in their lives. I cannot wait for you to listen to this episode. So we are going to jump right in, and I would love for you to join us today as we, again, listen to the fascinating world of plant-based eating. Welcome to the show, ladies. I'm really excited to learn more about y'all's story and just some of the fascinating things that you do. So welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all are sisters.
Yeah.
And let's just start with what life was like growing up.
I love the fact that you say y'all.
Yeah.
So growing up, I've got to say, Loretta and I, from a very young age, were inseparable. And I think the only way I could describe it is like being twins. I think the only people that kind of relate to it is twins that are really, really close. Because a lot of siblings, they're close, but they're not quite Loretta and I. I mean,
We're sickeningly close. It's like a Disney movie. We grew up in a large Irish family. It was loud. It was fun. There was loads of banter. And, in order to get heard, you had to shout loud. We both eat really, really fast because if you didn't, it was gone. We basically snort our food. So it was an amazing upbringing. There was lots of freedom because our parents were really, really busy and working and trying to make ends meet. So we were sort of left to our own devices a lot of the time.
Yeah, not. It wasn't kind of,
It's not Angela's Ashes.
No, it wasn't. My dad was building a business and my mum was a nurse, but she had 4 kids. So we've got 2 brothers as well. So, there's parts of it I sort of look back and go, our relationship with our mother wasn't as, she was very up and down personality. But my overriding kind of feeling really is that it was kind of full of fun.
Yeah. So we had a real laugh. There was lots of banter, taking the mickey out of each other. And Sharon and I were just unusually close. And I remember my dad, we used to share a bedroom and we had a double bed, and then we got to about, I think, 10, and we said, well, we want single beds, Dad. We're getting older.
Suggested it.
Yeah, we're getting older. We're really grown up now and we want single beds. And then he bought a single bed, and every morning he said he'd walk in and we'd be in one single bed together. So it was sort of quite sickly, nauseating.
We just always really made each other laugh. I think we always had a really similar sense of humour. And we're still
just lucky. We're just lucky that whatever happens in life, we've got each other, and that's that.
I don't know if it's lucky or weird, but whichever way, it's fun.
It's lucky and weird. But whatever shit life throws at you,
you've got one person that gets you. And finishes absolutely. Each other's sentences.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to look at it. It sounds like for you two, it worked out really well because you still do a lot of things together even today.
Yes. Yeah. We tried separating, we tried getting married, but we both got divorced and, we then ended up living together. And interestingly, sometimes we meet someone that we haven't, you haven't stayed in contact with, and they go, how's life going? And we go, yeah, it's fine. I said, I'm now living with Sharon. And they always respond with, of course you are. Yeah. Of course you are. Yeah.
That way, we wanted to have our own separate families, but unfortunately, I married really badly and had a terrible relationship. And you had a good marriage, but then he ran off when you were pregnant. So
yeah,
we didn't kind of work out. So I don't know whether that was
the universe
making us choose really bad men to be together. I don't know, but we do live together with our 2 kids, and I've got to say it's bloody great.
Oh, I love hearing that. I mean, it sounds like the stars were aligned that eventually you all were meant to be together. So
Yes.
Well, so how did things progress sort of later in life? Because I know what you all do now, so I'm kind of curious how this started to come about. And I know it came through some rough times, especially Sharon with you and your health issues. So how did that sort of all transpire?
I think initially it started. It's those moments in your life where everything seems to go wrong at once. So as Sharon alluded to, my husband left when I was 3 months pregnant, and then about a year later, Sharon got very sick. And then our mum got sick, and everything seemed to happen at once. And all of a sudden, it's like you become that magazine article that you read about in the doctor's surgery and you go, oh God, thank God I'm not them. We became those people. And
hit really bad. I mean, just to go back a little, as Loretta said, she was pregnant and her husband left her. I had then met my ex-husband sort of a similar time. We weirdly never had boyfriends at the same time. We never did that let's all go out for dinner together thing. It was either I was in a relationship or Loretta was. Anyways, I met my then husband. Loretta went on to have her baby, but what started to happen, what was becoming very apparent, was that I was in a very toxic marriage. So while she was trying to survive being left, I was trying to survive a very, very toxic marriage, and it became unbearable. And I got pregnant, and I was really, really happy to be pregnant because I did really, really want a child, but I was scared as well because I knew that I was in a very toxic marriage. But I really wanted the child that I now have. But at the same time as me becoming pregnant, I basically got sick, like really, really sick. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and it was horrendous. It's quite similar to lupus. It's called dermatomyositis, but I lost the ability to move. Basically, my muscle, it's a muscle weakening disease.
And also your skin was horrific. She was covered head to toe in this chronic rash, which, I mean, It looks like eczema, but really, I mean, so bad that sometimes she was hospitalized and covered in bandages just to get some relief. I mean, it was awful.
It was really bad, and it was really extreme, and I was pregnant, and, they were like, look, you've got this disease. It's an autoimmune. It's not curable, but it's treatable. We'll put you on immune suppression drugs. And that basically sort of suppresses your immune system within an inch of its life. So it's just about working, but it's stopping the body attacking itself. And, I've thought about it over the years, and I've thought, why did I get an autoimmune disease? And, the very concept of your body attacking is going against yourself. And I was very much going against myself being in that marriage and remaining in it. I mean, I don't want to kind of, he wasn't beating me up or anything. It was just, it was emotionally very draining. And I would probably say, I would categorize it as emotionally abusive. And I was going against myself by continuing. I had many, many warning signals before I got married. And because I did love him, and he's got lots of attributes about his character that are indeed very lovable. But I had many, many warning flags, and I ignored them because I did love him and I wanted this life. I wanted a child, I wanted the family. And in many ways, he was really me, out of everyone I'd ever met. He had intelligence and humor and outlook, and we had lots of things in common. But, ultimately, the up and downness of his character became unlivable. So I got this autoimmune disease. I was really, really sick. The doctors put me on lots and lots of drugs. It took about 5 months to work, and they did work eventually, but only a bit. So nothing really worked for my skin, and I did start to get some movement back. So, because at points I couldn't get up, I couldn't dress myself, I couldn't lift my arms over my head. I could barely hold a toothbrush. I couldn't actually hold it. I'd have to go like that to brush my teeth.
Lost a lot of your hair.
I lost a lot of my hair, and that was my thing. My hair was my thing. I loved my hair. And I was like, oh my God, not the hair. But anyway, I was very sick, and I became not as sick, I would say. I was walking again. I used to fall a lot. I'd lost a lot of core strength, so I'd fall all the time. Found it quite hard to pick up my feet. I could walk a bit and I could stand and I could dress myself. I had I had some of my life back. I would say I recovered 50% of my life back, but I wasn't who I used to be. And I always thought I was quite this high energy person, and I wasn't anymore. And I felt I was mourning that a bit. And by that stage I'd had my son, and I was a bit like, he's never going to know the version of me that I really like, which is this really high energy person. He's just going to know this version.
And I always remember catching Sharon in the car, and she was bright red. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said,
"Do we have to share this?"
No, but I just think this is really interesting and really sad. She said, "I'm doing a spin class in my head."
Wow.
She said, I'm doing a spin class in my head. And I always remember thinking, God, she really wants to get that back, to get that side of her life back,
Yeah, I mean, I did really miss the fitness and the running and the spinning, and I missed it all so much. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was part of me that had a massive excuse. I didn't have to do this really tough stuff anymore. I was like, okay, I've got a pass card. But
everyone was picking up around you.
Yeah, my sister was looking after me. I could become like properly lazy and have an excuse for it. I could go to bed and watch back-to-back House of Cards, which is what I did because I couldn't really do much. And I had all my family looking after me. I was actually a bit worried about that as well, because I was like, is there any part of me that's enjoying this a bit too much? Is there any part of me on a subconscious level has made my body become sick to get me out of the marriage?
Can I just put a caveat in there? Like, I'm just wary of the fact that you're not blaming him. No, what you're saying is that stress, stress can have a really big impact, and you probably might have got this disease anyway. It's just that, sometimes environment,
it can trigger. I mean, they sort of say it's genetics meeting environment, don't they, that can trigger a disease. So I was probably predisposed to have this, but I put myself into a very stressful situation, and then it happened. Anyway, I got sick, I got a bit better, I had my son, and I got a bit of my life back. I mean, we went to Edinburgh, we did a show. I was sort of okay. I mean, my skin wasn't okay. Nothing really worked for the skin, but I had a real desire to get my life back properly, as any sick person does. And that's when I started to research how to get better. And that took a long time, but I basically found people on the internet with chronic autoimmune diseases, and I just started to collate loads of information on how people got better. And actually I was sort of coaching someone yesterday on the phone, and I sort of said, look, the first stage is just to educate yourself. And that's what I did. And I spent months looking at people that got better. And they basically, and this is what we talk about on our retreats, they had correlating factors. The ones that I looked at became plant-based. They became teetotal. They cut processed foods, processed sugars. They had a nutrient-dense nutrition, flooded their system with nutrient-dense foods, and eradicated any major stress. Now, we've all got stress in our lives and we can't escape it. But when you've got never-ending major stress daily, whether it's a boss, whether it's a husband, whether it's a mother, whatever it is, that it's toxic to the point of like, it's so stressful, then if you can eradicate that.
Right.
So, and that's kind of basically what I did.
And it happened over quite a few years. It's not something, I think sometimes people watch these documentaries and go, oh, someone, started eating plants and they got better within 6 weeks. That's not what happened. Sharon did it slowly. She did it with her doctors. There were times when she didn't want to do it. There were times when she felt it wasn't working. There were times when she would reach out. She had a mentor actually in America, a stranger, which we always talk about the power of strangers and how they can have such an amazing influence on you. And she'd say, I want to give up. It's not working. It's not doing anything. I'm worse than I ever was. And then she would just give her that little bit of hope. And Sharon just kept going and did little by little. She didn't do all at once. We gave up drink first. Then we introduced more plants. Then we just did little by little. So slowly but surely, and I would say it took about 5 years.
To get off all the medicines. I mean, I got better, incrementally, I got better and better and better. But to get off all the meds, it took about 5 years because I did it so slowly to not risk my health.
And I was, interestingly, I did everything with her, and I said, look, if we're going to do this, like, let's not make this shit. Let's make this the best thing we've ever done. Let's make this amazing. So I fell in love with cooking. And interestingly, I wasn't sick. And what I found as a single mum looking after 2 tiny kids and my sister was...
She's never let me forget this.
Yeah, I know, but I found that I had more energy, I had more focus, I was happier, I was more productive, I had more energy. I used to watch people on Instagram that, they'd be like, oh, blueberries changed my life. And I'd be like, oh, no, really? No, they didn't. I was a bit cynical, but I turned into that person. I actually hated myself for being so kind of, I feel okay. I feel like I can cope with life. It really had an amazing impact on me as well. And that's when we kind of, we got more and more into it. And I retrained as a natural vegan chef. We started our retreat business, and we share our message and our story with others, really.
I mean, it sounds like you all just really went all in. I mean, it was like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it to its fullest. We're not going to half-ass it. Like, we're going to make it work.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it does sound like that because we're at the end point. We're at the good bit.
Yeah.
But it took time, and we're at the end point now, so we are all in and we love it. But there were times that we were, I mean, at first Sharon tried paleo.
Yeah, it took me a while. I was like looking
at
at every autoimmune protocol,
and it's so confusing. And even now I get confused. I don't know about you, but you hear one study and then another study, and then you hear an anecdote, and you're like, is that an anecdote? Is that real? Did that really happen? What was the study? I mean, I'm sure you know more than we do, but it's overwhelming at times.
I think the correlating factors, though, in all the different diets, and this is what I found, was that what they had in common, the ones that got better, whether it was on paleo or vegan, was that they cut processed foods, processed sugars and alcohol. You know what I mean? That was a common denominator.
Yes. Yeah. I'm actually hearing that more and more because there's so many people who are like, oh, you have to be 100% plant-based or 100% paleo or 100% keto or carnivore. But a lot of these people who go on these quote diets just talk about how good they feel. And y'all are right. I mean, a lot of it is because there is so much processed food, so much refined sugar, so much alcohol being cut from their diet that of course they're feeling amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you watched, I think it's called Live to 100 on Netflix?
The Blue Zones. It's just coming out. I watched some of it last night. Yeah.
Is it
they
so
talk
good?
About that. But it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot wait to watch it. It looks really good.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I really appreciate the reminder that healing is a journey and it takes time because so often, like you're saying, we do see people at the end of their journey and it's like, well, how in the world did you get there? But for so many people, it takes years of healing and refining the process to figure out what is going to work best for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that thing of like, do this and in a week I think for maybe some people that does happen, but I think for the majority, especially if you've got, an autoimmune disease, I think it's like turning around a ship, they say. So
yeah.
And also, I also think if you try and do all at once, that's a sure way to failure because it's so overwhelming to try and make those changes. These are really tough things to start to do. Yeah. So I always say if you can do little and often, it is much steadier and much easier to achieve in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sharon, then how did it go? Because from what I understand, you started slowly coming off your medication, your skin started to look better. What was that process like over the course of several years?
Yeah, I mean, it was so slow that it's a bit like watching your child grow. You sort of go, oh, they've grown. It was a bit like that, wasn't it? Where you sort of go, I went slowly back to running and my skin started to heal. And, I still have tiny bits of skin issues, like on my scalp a little bit, around my fingernails. But
she would have, sometimes she'd have panics because she'd get her bloods done. And whenever she got her, I used to hate her getting her bloods done.
If any marker was off, I'd go into a complete panic.
So there's one marker that if
it's a muscle marker,
it can go up, especially after exercise. And she was exercising, so she'd go, "Oh my God, it's gone up! I'm going back," and she'd have these panics.
And I think I could feel my arms felt heavier because it all starts to mentally affect you, and So it was just a very slow process. And before I knew it, over the few years, I then, I started back very slowly to get my life back. I started jogging again. My skin started to heal. My hair came back.
And at the beginning, once we'd sort of transitioned and we did all the research and we'd learnt lots of stuff, that's when Sharon threw herself in 100%.
Yeah.
So she would we would go out for dinner and she would bring her own salad dressing.
I did. I started to do 30-day juice fasts. I did 3-4 months raw vegan, which is really tough actually. So as I started to get better, what happened was as I slowly got off the meds, so I would cut 5 milligrams. I was on 3 meds. I was on steroids and 2 immune suppression drugs. So I started with the steroids. And so then I would drop 5 milligrams, and then I'd stay off 5 milligrams for 3 months. And then I'd drop another 2 milligrams for another 3 months. So the more stable I got with every drop of steroids, I was like, I can't risk this. I can't risk making any bad choices to kind of risk me going back into a flare. So as I started, I then became very, very, in the healing phase, 100% committed. And as Loretta said, I did lots of juice fasts, raw vegan, and just really I mean, I'm not as strict now as I used to be. I'm still live very well, but I wouldn't go to a restaurant and bring my own dressing. You know what I mean? And also they've got vegan menus now, so I'd be like, oh, I'll have a curry.
It's actually much harder to be healthier because we go now, especially on holiday, and they're like, here's the vegan menu and here's the vegan dessert. And we're like, oh my God.
Whereas before, I would literally have salad, some rice and mushrooms because there was no vegan menu and there was never dessert. So it was actually much easier, whereas now I'm a bit more tempted. But yeah, it was a kind of a slow process. But yeah, the more I got off the drugs, the more strict I became because I just didn't want to risk anything.
Yeah. Were your doctors like, Sharon, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, they were. They were.
They did it. I mean, they did. She did it with their blessing.
Yeah.
Good.
They were never like, they were like, if you feel it's going to make you better, then do it in that kind of slightly patronizing manner. But they said, they said, do it slowly. But actually, the better and better she got, the more supportive they got of it. I mean, I remember initially, because I was all sort of guns a-blazing going, and I found this plant-based and I'm going to do it and I want to get off all drugs. I do remember my doctor saying to me, I don't believe you'll ever be able to get off the immune suppression drugs, which I was on too.
Wow.
He says, you'll probably be able to get off the steroids. And I remember actually feeling a crushing disappointment that he said that. And they do think doctors need to be careful about giving that message. I mean, he's a lovely doctor and I get on actually really, really well with him. But as I did slowly do it and I'd go, I'm just going to drop another. And then they became intrigued. And they were like, and then when the junior doctors came in and they were like, okay, so what has she done? And, this is amazing,
And interestingly, at COVID, when COVID first kicked off, Sharon emailed her doctor and said, what do I do? Because she was off all drugs. She said, am I... vulnerable because I got this autoimmune, and what do you do with your other patients that have come off all drugs? What, are you telling them to isolate, And he said, no, you don't have to isolate. And he said, I don't have any other patients that have come off all drugs.
Wow.
Although saying that, I mean, he did sort of say to me that, and this is can be a stock a stock thing. Some people go into remission.
Yeah.
Not many.
Sure.
Not many go into remission. It's for life. But that was a kind of, it might not have been the lifestyle. Now, the reason why I know it was the lifestyle is that I actually did try to come off the steroids in particular twice before without changing my diet. And I was using lots of supplements. I was working with a homeopathic doctor and I was on really, really high dose supplements, but I didn't really change my diet. She's very, very old. She's got to be, she might even be 100. But she was lovely.
She was amazing because whatever she was doing, whenever we'd go and see her, we tried to guess her age, but I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, she looked like she'd just risen from a coffin.
Yeah.
But interestingly, she didn't wear glasses.
No, she didn't. And she was on all supplements.
Yeah. And she said, no, I do not. She was a Hungarian. I do not need glasses. And we were like, that's amazing. So
yes.
She also became more of a spiritual guide for me because she really guided me through sort of leaving my husband. So that was, and the supplements were amazing, but she didn't really know that much about diet and she didn't have the internet and, she was very old school. But anyways, So I was on these really high supplements. I think what she did give me was that she gave me hope as well. She was the first person to say, we can get you better, which is actually really important.
Yeah.
And she also taught you some really lovely stuff as well about, forgiveness and love. And
yeah, she was amazing.
Whenever you've got anger, whenever you've got frustration, you have to give love, because
that is toxic on your system.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she had me on this high protocol, and I was a bit like, well, I'll just take the supplements and eat what I want to eat then, and I wasn't particularly unhealthy, but I wasn't the way I live now. And the 2 times I tried to come off my steroids, because they say around 7 milligrams, your body can go into a flare, and some people can never manage to get off the steroids, and they end up being on between 5 and 7.
Isn't that to do with your adrenals?
It's to do with the adrenals or something. Yeah. But anyway, it can always be a bit of a danger zone around 7 to 5, that the system might go back into a flare of the disease. And basically, before I changed my diet, the 2 times I tried to come off the steroids, I went back into big flares.
Wow.
The only time I managed to get off everything was when I changed my diet completely. So I kind of know, but I don't sort of go to the doctors. Well, no, actually, because I just sort of go, yeah, some people do go into remission. You know what I mean?
And you will know this, more than most. There are so many lifestyle doctors now that are understanding the power of food, the power of healing. It's not just hippy dippy or eat broccoli. There is grounded science in this stuff.
But there's also other factors, like, we interviewed Dr. Jeffrey Rediger, and he's written a book called Cured, I think.
Yeah.
And we're talking about like stage 4 cancers, and like some of the people that he'd studied, it might not be they became plant-based vegans. They might have just decided to live their dream, decided to leave their husband, move to Italy, and live their last days walking their dogs every day. And they went into remission. So this world is a mysterious and incredible place, and our body reacts to things that, even if you think about the placebo, that in people go, it's placebo, it's extraordinary. The fact that you think it therefore becomes. So I always say it's not one answer for everybody, but there are correlating factors. And, even with this woman I was sort of slightly coaching yesterday, she was really young. She was like 25, and she's got chronic fatigue. And I was like, look, the only regret I have is that I wish I'd learnt this stuff earlier. Like, you've actually been given a gift. If you can reverse this, like properly reverse it and get yourself better first, then you've got a gift, because you know how to live well. And people, they don't know how to fucking live well. Sorry, I don't know if you can swear. And that is a gift. And that's the gift that the disease gave me. It taught me how to live well. And I will always be grateful for that.
Yeah, gosh, what a way to use something that was so challenging and kind of tragic in your life and turn it around to almost, look positively upon it or reflect positively upon it, but also be able to use it to help others too. I'm sure you weren't expecting that either.
No, that's true. We often have this sort of like parallel worlds, me and Loretta, and we always go, if I hadn't have got sick, do you think I would have given up alcohol? The sliding doors of your life. You just don't know, do you? Would you have got to this place anyway? Probably not.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because you used to love a bottle of wine a night, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah.
It is. And it sounds like what you were saying earlier, and I'm a true believer in this, our thoughts and our beliefs and even our environment have a massive impact on our reality and our actions day to day. And I could not believe that anymore.
Yeah.
So how did things start to progress, Sharon, once you sort of discovered, holy smokes, there is a connection between diet, environment, lifestyle, and its impact on my body and what's going on? And how did that kind of birth, what you all are doing now, essentially?
Well, we're both actors and comedy writers and performers. And we kind of for a while thought, I need to have something else going on, because it's such a tough industry.
And financially, as single mums, we needed something else. And I didn't, I wanted to do something that I was passionate about. And it sort of happened organically, really. We have got a place in Suffolk, and we used to go there with our girlfriends. And whenever we went to this lovely country house in the countryside, they'd all get absolutely hammered, and me and Sharon would get up in the morning and we'd be doing our ginger shots and going out running, and they'd be like, a bit kind of like, how do you do this, And we always used to make them breakfast, and we'd make them really lovely vegan lunches. And by the end of the weekend, the girls would be like, I want to change. I feel inspired. You need to help people do this.
Yeah, they were sort of like, whenever I've spent a whole weekend with you, I leave going, oh, I want to make some changes. Like, it's infectious the way you live.
And we're not patronising.
No.
We don't throw it in their faces. Or
They're going, oh, we've got ginger shots while you're puking up. See ya.
Do you know 1 glass of wine increases your risk of
breast cancer?
We didn't do any of that. No, we'd go enjoy it, get pissed.
You wouldn't have friends.
No, we'd be very, very annoying. Yeah. And I'm sure we're annoying anyway. But yeah, so that's planted the seed, and then we started, and
we just thought we loved retreats. At the beginning, we were like, should we do a juice bar? And then I was like, I don't want to work in a juice bar every day. So why am I setting up a business where I've got to have to be there making juices all day long? And I had a really young son. At that stage, he was only 4. So we loved retreats, didn't we? And we were like, maybe we could do a retreat. It just dawned on us. Like, maybe we could do a retreat in this house, like a small retreat. There's 5 rooms. We could host 10 people, 6 rooms with our apartment. There wasn't in the early days. We used to sleep on the sofa, but upstairs. But, you know, we were like, maybe we could run a business. And I've got to say, unlike my acting career, when I started this business, I mean, obviously it was really daunting at first, and we were like shitting ourselves. I mean, we opened the doors to 10 strangers. We'd never done it before.
Yes.
You know, and I forget how daunting that was. But
we created something that we wanted, that we would like. That I every time I run a retreat, I always think I want to be on this retreat. It's a really lovely feeling, you know.
Yes.
So we and it snowballed. I was about to say.
Sorry,
that's right. No, that I was gonna. It was one of those things that I put my mind to. We created, and it just effortlessly happened. I mean, every retreat started selling out. We started to get pics in loads of national press. It was like it was meant to be. Like it had a little bit of help from the universe. I don't go around going, "Oh, the universe," but it was just so natural. It just the retreat sold out. We got amazing reviews. The people loved them. You know,
we love doing them. We love what we didn't realise.
I still love hosting them 5 years on. I'm never bored. I never go, oh, I've got to run a retreat.
But we also get a lot out of them ourselves because we meet. It's the only place that you meet people from different walks of life that you wouldn't necessarily normally meet.
Yep.
So you learn from strangers, and you learn about different people. And, you know, lots of the people that have come on our retreats have become friends, have become podcast guests. So it's always really fascinating. And yeah, we love it. So we're blessed really to do something you love, you know?
Yeah. I mean, when you can host something like that, and I know we've been actually talking about this a lot on the podcast, when you can walk into a room full of strangers and instantaneously feel connected on some level to every single person, I mean, there is nothing like that. To be able to feel like you can just be vulnerable and share, you know, your deepest, darkest secrets with someone you've just met is huge.
And actually, on that point, especially on our last retreat, people really sort of started opening up with each other, and they actually said it was so helpful because it was strangers.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, some one woman, her husband had just run off, and it wasn't her mates with their judgment, their preconceived ideas of their marriage. It was just, you know, like strangers, and they all had their own, and they were just sharing and helping each other, and it was kind of wonderful, really, just to see that connection with strangers.
Yeah. Yep. And it's amazing when you start being vulnerable with, you know, a group of people, typically someone else in that group has experienced something on some level. And such a beautiful thing.
It's actually interesting because on our opening night, we just invite people to sort of say their name, a bit about themselves, and perhaps why they chose to come to the retreat. So we don't sort of say you've got to share everything. But I often find, so you could have 3 people sort of go, hi, I'm Emma, just interested in vegan food, so I thought I'd come, I need a rest. Then the next person will follow suit. As soon as one person goes, I've had a horrendous year, my mum's got Alzheimer's, I had breast cancer earlier in the year, gets really vulnerable, then it snowballs. But the next person, but if not one person opens up, you'll find no one will.
Yeah, but they do by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, and it sounds like your enthusiasm for this lifestyle, like you were talking about going on, you know, trips with your friends earlier, that there was something contagious about what you all were doing, that your friends are like, I want to do more of this, because I feel like our society has normalized, you know, when you go on vacation or holidays, you're drinking and staying up late and doing things that make you don't feel so great the next day. But what you were doing, it sounded like, looked so much more appealing than maybe what they were doing.
Yeah, I think it's about, unless you look after yourself, unless you've got the right energy, life is tough, and life is tough anyway. We all have our ups and downs, but creating that energy and eating well, sleeping well, surrounding yourself with good people, that gives you really good energy. And I think that is what people, that's what's so magnetizing, is there's no drug in the world, there's no glass of champagne that can take away that amazing energy when you go to bed with peace in your heart and you wake up and you think, I can face today, I'm okay, I'm all right, let's go for it.
Yes.
I also think that this is something that we talk about a lot, and it's not very popular, so we don't talk about it too much because people don't want to hear it, but this whole normalizing just drinking much more on holiday than perhaps you would even at home, and then coming back and feeling wrecked from your holiday. It's nonsensical. You go away, you drink much more than you normally do, and so you basically, by the time you come home, you feel like shit.
And you need another holiday to get over your holiday.
Right. It's so normalised, and I can honestly say, when we go on a holiday, and we've just had a really amazing holiday in the summer with the kids, maybe we are boring, but, we go to bed at 10 o'clock, we wake up, we feel amazing, we have another great day with our kids, we're not in a bad mood. Sometimes you are in a bad mood, sometimes they are getting on your nerves, but you know that you're in a bad mood. It's not because you've had so much toxins in your body from the night before that you're now taking it out on them or on each other or yourself, bad, negative thinking, low self-esteem, all of that. We're really passionate about not drinking, I've got to say. It's one of the things that I'm really passionate about. And as I said, I gave up when I was 38, and I wish I gave up, when I was 25, I think it's a really, really tough message to give, because society is such an accepted drug and society celebrates it. Even with our kids, and, we sort of go, we try and sort of tell them, obviously they're really, really young, but they see people around them drinking and, in society, and they're like, why is it so bad? And I'm like, it's really hard because it looks like we're just these real party poopers, but we know so much about it, that it's just really difficult to get that message out, and not feel like you just want to ruin everybody's fun.
Yeah. And I always think, by not drinking, a lot of people go, well, what does it give you? And I go, well, I'm a better mum. I'm better at my work. I'm more focused. I'm a better sleeper. There's no part of my life that isn't.
I'm basically happy.
Yeah, that isn't better from not drinking. But I obviously don't. People are curious and want to give up, I tell them. If they're not, I don't, because it's no one wants to hear that.
No, but you're right. It's so ingrained in our culture. It's hard to imagine life without it. A lot of people can't imagine, what am I going to do in the evenings, or what am I going to do on a holiday? Yeah.
And I was that person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember reading Alan Carr's book, How to Cut Down, and you get to the end of it, it says you can't cut down, you have to give up, and I just threw it away. I thought, I don't want to give up. It's a lunatic.
A bit less at that point. But it's very difficult, as we said, because it's just so ingrained and celebrated. It is changing. Things are changing, and actually the younger generations are drinking a lot less.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. In fact, there was a bar recently that opened up near me that's a completely alcohol-free bar, which is really exciting.
Really?
Yes.
That's really cool.
So it's exciting to see more stuff like that, more accessible options for people who don't want to drink.
And also the alcohol-free, obviously that market is really growing, the products.
It's one of the biggest growing markets out there without government intervention, which is incredible, because smoking, that a lot of that happened, minimizing smoking because of, big government campaigns. This is happening without government campaigns.
Just people going, it doesn't make me feel great.
Yeah.
But I often, if I'm on holiday now, and I do sometimes occasionally have that beer feeling, I will have an alcohol-free beer. Yeah. And it tastes great.
Yep.
Although your 13-year-old gave us a hard time going, but you're celebrating drink, really, because you're having an alcohol-free beer. Yeah. So aren't you celebrating drink? And I was like, the imaging's not great. Yeah.
Where can people, if they're listening to you talk about your retreats, where can they go to check it out and see if one would be possibly on the agenda for them upcoming in the next year?
So we've got a website called Gavin Sisters. And under Gavin Sisters, we have our retreats called the Detox Barn, and we've just launched one in the Algarve, Portugal. So that's happening in October and in May. And
we've got monthly ones in Suffolk.
Okay.
We're fully booked for September, but we've got availability from November. But we have got 2 spaces left on our October 5-day retreat in Portugal, which is very exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that this morning.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good. Well, we'll put that link in the show notes. That way people can easily check it out and access it and connect with you all. Is there any place outside of your website where people might want to connect with you, like anything on social media?
Instagram, we're at Gavin Sisters UK. And TikTok, we're at Gavin Sisters.
Okay, perfect.
We just are you on TikTok?
I am, yes.
Right, yeah. So we're new to TikTok, to our kids' absolute dismay, because we've launched a mushroom coffee, funky coffee, and but my daughter Florence said, "Mum, you can be on TikTok, but just don't show your face." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Lovely. I might show my face. Yeah. No, I was just about to say the other thing that we just like to share is that we've just launched as I said, a mushroom coffee, which basically it's organic, triple certified coffee, and then it's mixed with adaptogenic mushrooms. But the mushroom content isn't high enough for it to be overriding the taste. It's just enough there to give it a boost. So it tastes amazing. And yeah, we're really excited about it. I mean, it came from me once when I gave up everything. I had to give up coffee too. This was way back before the research changed about actually coffee's good for you, good organic coffee. And I was depressed. It was the one thing that I couldn't quite get over, that thing in the morning. And I just really didn't enjoy being a non-coffee drinker. I did it for a couple of years. I was on the matches, which I didn't enjoy. I was trying to make myself, And anyway, then I discovered that there was mushroom coffee, which is much bigger in America. And I heard about it from the Rich Roll podcast. Yes. And I started ordering it and drinking it. And I was like, I love this. And it's got the daily health hack in the coffee. So when we started to work with a business partner, he was like, it'd be great for you to launch products. What would you like to launch? I was like, this is a no-brainer. It's got to be the coffee because I loved it. I wanted the healthiest coffee on the planet. So we've produced it and it's now on sale.
Wonderful. And that's on your website too, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Oh, that is so exciting. And how neat to be like, I love this product. How can I make one for myself or one that I love? I mean, that is fascinating.
Yeah. The only problem is we keep drinking all our stock.
I know. Yeah.
Well, that's a good sign that it's delicious. So
yeah.
Good. Thank you so much for coming on and being transparent and sharing your story. I really appreciate you both.
No worries. Thank you.
No worries. It's weird actually because I'm used to being the podcast host, and I'll tell you what's weird about it is that I'm not used to one-way conversation.
Yeah,
I'm used to, if we weren't on a podcast, going, so tell me about you, and when did you become just you know what I mean? It's quite slightly narcissistic.
It does feel narcissistic,
I know that's not the point of it. The point is our story, but it feels so unnatural.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, you were great. So thank you for inviting us on.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, I love listening, so it worked out perfectly. Well, thank you again so much. And thank you for tuning in today. We really appreciate you. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you so much, Sharon and Loretta.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep thriving.